Did you know that over 15 million texts are sent every minute worldwide? And a good chunk of those are from people trying to navigate the tricky waters of dating. Welcome, folks, to Noggin Knowledge, your one-stop shop for all things psychology. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that's as complex as a Rubik's Cube and as delicate as a house of cards: the art of texting in the modern dating world. Yes, we're talking about those little bubbles of words that can spark a romance or, if not handled well, can keep you in the singles club. In the age of emojis and autocorrect disasters, effective texting is more important than ever. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. So let's dive right into the top 5 texting mistakes that could be keeping you single. Stick around, you might be guilty of a few. First up, we've got the overuse of abbreviations and emojis. Now, who doesn't love a good emoji or a snappy abbreviation? They're fun, they're expressive, and they can save you a fair bit of typing. But here's the thing, they can also create a whole lot of confusion. Let's say you've had a great date and you can't wait to see them again. You send a message filled with abbreviations and emojis to show your excitement. Sounds good, right? Well, not quite. What if they misinterpret your LOLs and OMGs? What if your string of heart-eyed emojis comes across as too intense? The result? A potential miscommunication that could have been avoided with clear, concise language. Now, we're not saying you should eliminate abbreviations and emojis altogether. They're a part of our modern language, after all. But like a potent spice, they should be used sparingly. A sprinkle here, a dash there, but never enough to overpower the main course, your message. Here's a quick tip. Try to match the other person's communication style. If they're using emojis and abbreviations, feel free to do the same. But if they're sticking to plain English, it's usually a good idea to follow suit. And remember, while emojis and abbreviations can add flavor to your texts, they're no substitute for clear, concise language. After all, communication is about understanding, not just expression. Remember, a picture might be worth 1,000 words, but in texting, clarity is king. Mistake number 2, ignoring response time. Now, we've all been there. You send a text and then you wait, and wait, and wait. The minutes turn into hours, the hours into days, and before you know it, you're growing a beard waiting for a response, or at least it feels like it. The truth of the matter is, delayed or inconsistent responses can be a real mood killer. It's like a slow-motion car wreck for your budding romance. It sends the message that you're not a priority, that the other person is disinterested or even worse, indifferent. And let's be honest, nobody wants to feel like they're at the bottom of someone's to-do list. But wait, we're not advocating for instant responses every time. We all have lives outside our phones, right? What we're talking about here is maintaining a reasonable response time. It's about showing you're genuinely engaged in the conversation. You know, like how you'd react if you were talking face to face. You wouldn't just stare blankly for hours before responding to a question, would you? So here are some tips. Try to respond within a reasonable time, especially if the conversation is flowing. If you're busy, a simple, "Hey, I'm caught up at the moment, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can" works wonders. So don't play hard to get by purposely delaying your responses, it's not a game. The third mistake is texting too much or too little. It's like Goldilocks and her porridge, finding the just right amount of texting can be a real conundrum. Text too much, and you risk coming off as clingy, overwhelming, or downright annoying. No one wants a phone that buzzes more frequently than a bee on a caffeine high. On the other hand, text too infrequently, and you might as well be a ghost. Casper might be friendly, but in the dating world, ghosting equals disinterest. So, how do you strike that perfect balance? It's not about counting texts or timing your responses down to the minute. It's about gauging the other person's interest and comfort level. If they're matching your enthusiasm, text for text, then you're probably on the right track. But if their responses are short, infrequent, or non-existent, it might be time to pump the brakes. Remember, everyone's texting style is different. Some people love to text all day, every day, while others prefer to keep their digital interactions to a minimum. It's crucial to respect these individual preferences. After all, mutual respect is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. In essence, texting is a dance. It's about finding a rhythm that suits both you and your partner. It's about communication, compromise, and courtesy. So keep your phone in hand, but don't let it rule the roost. The key is balance. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Mistake number 4, lack of clarity and context. A big blunder we often make while texting is being vague or cryptic. It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle with half the pieces missing. Can you picture the chaos? That's exactly what happens when you send a message without sufficient clarity or context. It leaves the receiver guessing and often leads to misunderstandings. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine you're texting someone you've recently started dating. You send a message saying, "Tonight was interesting." Now, interesting could mean 1,000 different things. Was it interesting good, interesting bad, or interesting I need to think about it? Without context or clarity, you're leaving the other person in a whirlwind of confusion. And trust me, that's not the kind of mystery anyone appreciates in a budding relationship. So what's the solution? Be specific. If you had a great time, say it. If something bothered you, express it. Don't leave room for assumptions, because assumptions are the termites of relationships. They slowly eat away at the foundation until there's nothing left but rubble. Also, remember to provide context. If you're referring to something that happened earlier, make sure to mention it. Don't assume the other person remembers every detail. We're all juggling 100 things in our lives, and it's easy to forget. Think of texting as a tweet. You've got limited characters, so make each one count. And finally, mistake number 5, relying solely on texting. Now, don't get us wrong. Texting is a fantastic tool for staying connected, but it's just that, a tool. It's like trying to build a house with only a hammer. Sure, you could probably do it, but would you really want to live in it? Text-based communication has its limitations. It lacks the warmth of a voice, the sparkle in the eyes, and the richness of face-to-face interactions. It's like trying to taste a gourmet meal through a straw. You're missing out on so many flavors. So instead of using texting as your primary mode of communication, why not use it as a stepping stone? Set up that coffee date, make that phone call, arrange that video chat. The magic happens outside the chat box. Remember, texting is a tool, not the entire toolbox. So there you have it, the top 5 texting mistakes that might be keeping you single. Let's do a quick recap. First, avoid the overuse of abbreviations and emojis. They can lead to miscommunication and misunderstandings. Instead, opt for clear and concise language. Second, don't ignore response times. A delayed or inconsistent response can make the other person feel unimportant. Third, find the right balance in texting frequency. Too much can come across as clingy, too little as disinterested. Fourth, always ensure your messages are clear and context-rich. Vague or ambiguous texts can lead to confusion. And finally, don't rely solely on texting. Remember, it's a tool to set up real-life interactions, not a replacement for them. Reflect on your own texting habits and make the necessary adjustments. Remember, effective communication is key in dating. Thank you for tuning in to Noggin Knowledge. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more dating and relationship tips. And remember, the key to successful dating is just a text away.